Well, I'd request Preetham to stay back with us on the stage because he's joining us for the next live case study, which is the third live case for the day on Swiggy Instamart, changing the way India orders groceries. Our panel members here are Mr. Vikrant Reddy, Director Fulfillment, Swiggy Instamart. May we have you with us on the stage, please? Well, having more than 1 year of experience at Swiggy, 5 years of experience at Myntra across various roles in logistics, warehousing, packaging. Last role at Myntra, he's also been the head of Returns Processing Center with more than 1.5 years of experience at Snapdeal in SCM. He has been a postgraduate from NITIE, Mumbai, 2015 batch, and he's also got experience in Power Grid PSU, post-engineering. Let's give him a big round of applause. Thank you. It's lovely having you with us. Welcome. I would now like to invite Mr. Vaibhav Gopalka, Head of Managed Services South Clear. May we have you on the stage, please? Let's welcome you with a round of applause. His overall experience is 11 years in tax, primarily in indirect tax, and has played multiple clients transition to the GST regime in 2017. He has worked in a couple of big fours before joining Clear and has centered to multiple sectors, including FMCG, IT, ITS, automobile, insurance, etc. Once again, a round of applause. Welcome. I would now like to invite on stage Mr. Amit Mohan, Director, Implementations and Customer Support, Vinculum. Amit has more than 24 years of extensive experience in designing, development and implementation of retail applications. He specializes in strong functional and system expertise in retail domain with vast experience of working in APAC region, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Hong Kong and Philippines. At Vinculum, Amit provides leadership with customer-focused approach towards ensuring smooth implementation of Win products. Once again, a big hand to all our panel members and our moderator. Welcome, Amit. And I hand over the entire session to Preetham. Over to you. Please be seated.
Thank you. Great having you, Vikrant, Vaibhav and Amit. Quick commerce, I believe, is a buzz now, right? I mean, I was talking in my session about how customer expectations have now gone sky high, right? With somebody wanting to deliver in 30 minutes or lesser, right? Just wanted to quickly, while Vikrant was introduced, I think Swiggy Instamart uses Win WMS to connect their warehouses to the dark stores, which is very important in enabling these fastest deliveries, right? Vaibhav from Clear. Clear integrates with Vinculum, basically to help customers like Swiggy and others to, for them to enable GST monitoring, compliance, e-invoicing, etc. And of course, we have Amit, the best of the Vinculum WMS experience. May I ask you, Vikrant, to possibly let people know about Swiggy Instamart and what you do?
Okay. So I hope that most of you would know about Instamart, and I'm sure a lot of you would actually be using the services. So Instamart has been here for the last two years or so, trying to bring convenience at your doorstep. Swiggy in general is what we try to bring convenience to the customers through food, through groceries, through Genie and different other platforms. So Instamart provides doorstep deliveries of various categories, right from fruits, vegetables, meat, FMCG products, staples, cooking. We even do what you call the seasonal SKUs. Like probably if you have somebody, if any sisters have forgotten Rakis, you can check it out on Instamart right at this moment of time. So yeah, so I think we curate our products what the end customer wants. So yeah.
Okay, thanks. Vaibhav, you want to talk something about clear solutions?
Yeah. I think a lot of us know us as Clear Tax, but I think that there's a reason why we have rebranded ourselves as Clear. And I think the biggest reason for us rebranding as Clear is that we have understood and we have realized, and what Preetham spoke about backward integration, we have realized that tax is not the only forte which people look at. They look at finance as a function. And that's where we have come in and we have realized that we just should not look at tax. We should also look at the CFO suite, which not only includes taxation, it includes vendor payments, it includes vendor risk management, it includes data analytics. Preetham spoke about AI, ML. So people want to know whether the vendors or the customers that they are working with are risk compliant or not. Or is there a chance that the purchase and the sale that I'm making to or from them will not be compliant, and eventually the government will run to us. So that is what we are trying to do. We are trying to build sort of a compliance or a finance solution for organizations, which not only deals with tax, but it also deals with certain other spheres of finances, including payments, invoicing, credits, vendor communications, etc.
Hey, thanks, Vaibhav. Amit, I'll come to you in a moment. There's more to understand about WinWMS. But I'll go to Vikrant first, right? The key success factor, right, according to me, in the quick commerce is a subset of multiple things, right? One, of course, the product ranges that you carry, the technology platform that you would have built, and the infrastructure around it. What makes you successful in Swiggy Instamart? If you could throw some more light on this.
I think for any organization to be successful, eventually what matters is what the customer feels about you. Like we spoke a lot about customer experience in the last 2 hours or so. So for a customer, and when they associate themselves with Instamart is, the products that we offer to them, what is the reliability with which they can access these products. You talked about the range of products, but what is the reliability with which you get those range of products? It shouldn't be a case wherein you are getting those products on only some days of the week and not on every day. When the customer perceives you as the platform where they can rely on you throughout maybe the course of their lifetime as a customer, that's when you become successful. And to top it, the technology and infrastructure, right? We as a country, we see a lot of ups and downs in terms of the traffic to the platforms, right? How well are you equipped to handle the traffic? That is the infrastructure of technology and the infrastructure of your warehousing as well. How well you are equipped across the country. Like right now, Instamart is present in 20 plus cities, and where we have our warehouses in most of the major cities. How well we are equipped to deliver to the dark stores, such that the dark stores are always stocked up with the right products that the customer is looking at. So I think availability and reliability, I would put them at the top of everything, and I think we are doing a fairly good job, which is bringing the customers back to us.
Absolutely. You spoke about reliability. I mean, when we were having lunch, we did discuss about this, right? Saying that anybody would do it first time, right? And the customer expectations are, rising because of that. But doing it consistently is very important. Back in Amazon, we say that there's no compression algorithm for experience, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure Swiggy, with its experience in handling this at a large scale, always comes in handy. So Vaibhav, how do you help brands like Swiggy, Instamart, and others in terms of their GST compliance?
So as Vikrant mentioned and sort of explained the complexity around the business, right? So it is not just the complexity of the business. What we also have to take in mind, the complexity of the changing rules and regulations which government also bring in. So what we sort of try to cater is, we try to marry the complexity of the business along with the complexity which the government creates, or not, rather creates would be a wrong word, but which brings about by changing rules and regulations. So that's where we come in, because the kind of solutions that we have, it is fairly integratable to any sort of a solution, be it like the ERPs, like the SAPs, Oracles, or softwares like Vinculum or Zoho. So the kind of integration capabilities that we as Clear have, we are very flexible and agile. These are things that we want as a tech company. And that is what we are trying to do. What we are trying to do is we are just trying to reduce the business inefficiencies when it comes to compliance, be it from the business side or from the government side. And we are just sort of enabling the organizations to focus just on the business without keeping in mind or without thinking much about the compliance side of it or from a government regulation standpoint of it. So what we are doing for Swiggy is that we have sort of implemented multiple solutions for Swiggy Instamart, be it invoicing, e-way bill, because whenever you're delivering a product, you have to essentially raise a e-way bill. And that, if you don't do it, probably it is hampering your business. So that becomes a business enabler. If you don't do that, your business will stop, which is something which is not liked by the organization. And invoicing, that is mandatory, because if you don't raise it, your customer will not get the credit out of it. So that is what we bring in to ensure that we enable the business. What we are also doing, and as Vikrant mentioned, is that the number of SKUs that they have to manage. And the government keeps changing rates throughout. They change rates 5 times a year. How do we manage that? So we have built in internal APIs. We do a lot of exercise wherein we sort of try to give the right HSN code to their products along with an appropriate mapping to the rate, so that if at all, for example, the rate of paneer just changed, it became 5 and it was earlier 0%. So if they don't factor in that and they still supply it at a 0%, there will be government regulations and there will be penal consequences. So that is where we come in to ensure that they can take care of the business and we take care of the compliances, the regulation, the filings, the HSN mapping, the rates and all that.
Great. So Vikrant, on the same point, right, how do you see the difference pre and post engaging Clear in Swiggy Instamart deliveries?
I think the recent GST percentage change that the government did, it was just a cutover, and I would say that we hardly had to spend any time in doing that cutover because we had an able partner who had a ready solution for that. So all we had to do was manage our inventory. The rest of the problem was taken care of by people who are good with their subject-sided knowledge. So I think that's where Clear has come in very handy. And as he was mentioning, we already had invoicing, e-way bill, and HSN integration already done, like Vaibhav just mentioned. Yeah.
Wonderful. I mean, coming to you now, right? So WinWMS, I think, has been in Gartner for close to 6 years now, for 6 years, and also the other analyst reports. So what do you do in terms of adding products, features, and functionalities, right, to enable these kind of quick commerce and fast deliveries? If you could throw some light. Yeah.
So as we know, having featured in Gartner for 6 years in a row, so we all know how robust our warehousing management solution is, right? Having said that, compared to the traditional warehousing management solution, vis-a-vis what quick commerce requirements are. So obviously, quick commerce is a different ballgame altogether. In quick commerce, if you understand, there is a concept of a mother warehouse, wherein you manage your inventory, procuring from different vendors. And on the other hand, we have got dark stores. Now, these dark stores are very small stores. They cannot, manage an inventory of huge volume. So which is where it is very important to ensure that the replenishment cycle works very efficiently to ensure that whatever orders that we get from the end customers, those orders needs to be delivered within 30 minutes or whatever the time frame is, which is set by Instamart. Now, to do that, it is very important that the orders that come from, that go to from dark stores to the mother warehouse, they needs to be immediately delivered, right? And to achieve that, we have to also ensure that we have got adequate inventory in both the dark stores and also the warehouse. If the warehouse does not have, mother warehouse does not have enough inventory, it has to be procured. So there has to be an automated procurement system that will hand in hand align with your outbound process, which is sending the inventory to your dark stores, and so that the dark stores can serve your end customers, right? So all in all, this entire chain, right, the gamut of this it would be very challenging and different to a traditional warehousing solution would be, which is where we all sat together and had various discussions with the Swiggy team. In fact, Swiggy team helped us out in working on those requirements, and we built those solutions on top of our existing warehouse solution that we had. And then at the end of the day, finally, we launched the first warehouse way back in 2020, right? And now we are close to 50 warehouses across more than 20 cities. And we are pretty stable, right, to ensure that every customer order gets delivered on time. So that is where I think we help Swiggy.
Sure. No, thanks for that. So we can't.
Maybe I'll also like to just
Sure.
add here is that what Amit mentioned on the perspective of customization is, and I think that is what is the need of the hour, because the business currently is structured in a manner that everyone wants customization because they run a business in their particular manner. And that is where we also come into the picture, because the way Swiggy mentions a description of a particular item, another competitor does not, right? And that is what we are trying to build based on MI and ML and AI to read the important characteristics of a particular description and give us the HSN. Because if we do it manually, it's a big task. They are managing close to about 25,000 unique HSN or SKUs. It will be tough for me to find out HSN for that if I do it manually. And that is where we are learning from our experiences, from how these things work, and trying to build a solution around it so that the ML and the AI technology can work and give us HSN just by uploading a particular file, so that the turnaround time can be improved. Because again, Swiggy Instamart says that we'll deliver in 30 minutes. And if we take time to give them the HSN and take a month, the whole purpose fails. So that is what we are also trying to bring about, to see how we can help industries in these segments.
Wonderful. That is a great insight of how you bring in automation, AI and ML into your work.
It's not something which is already done, right? So we are still evolving. There are still certain requirements that keep coming up, right? We are working hand in hand with Swiggy to ensure that new customizations, we are able to cater to that. We are flexible enough to incorporate those additional features, right? Not just for Swiggy, but for similar, competitors as well. So that is what we are working in parallel.
Perfect. So, quick commerce and delivering in 30 minutes or lower would certainly require for you to get your master warehouses and your dark warehouses to kind of be connected. And you work with WMS, right? So, what kind of features and functionalities and operations that you manage around this?
So the entire movement from the master warehouse to the dark store happens through Vinculum for us, right? So right from inwarding the thousands of SKUs into our warehouse that come from various suppliers, the different FMCG companies, we invert them into our inventory, then we store it in the areas that we believe are the efficient places which Vinculum supports. Then there is the entire process of as per the customer order. So the customer in this piece would be the dark store. So the dark store places the order of these are the SKUs that we need for tomorrow's delivery. So the picking efficiency or the optimal pick path that Vinculum gives the output, okay, these are the set of items, after this item you have to pick this item, so on and so forth, such that the time taken for picking every item is the minimum. And from there, packing those products and delivering it to the dark store. So if I were to put it in a nutshell, then the entire B2B flow from the master warehouse to the dark store happens through Vinculum. And to add to the point that Amit was mentioning, like we have undergone a lot of changes that are very unique to our business or what we believe would help our business, right? So we have, I think right now I don't even know the number of changes that we have done. There could be very small changes which
So, I mean, they are broadly related to automation, right? So automation, PO automation, then there's RTV automation, right? Purchase returns, right? Then on the outbound front as well, right? So everything, so we are trying to automate more and more, right? Which is what Swiggy is
Yeah, the
looking
platform
forward to.
need to be extensible to,
Yes.
Yeah,
these
so
demands.
at any point of time, there would be a bunch of requests that would always be in the works between the two teams.
So FN module is the, new module which is coming up altogether, right? Totally different to what Swiggy has now asked for. So it is very different to what we already have or what we have already served,
Sure.
right? Which is very specific to Swiggy, which is being developed.
Perfect. I mean, that was a great insight. So, Vaibhav, none can predict what is going to happen to the GST rate or kind of a cap revision and all that. So, what according to you is the impact to this essentials category, the brands in the essentials category with such changes happening?
Got it. So I think there comes the power of technology, because the kind of time government sort of gives to overall to the companies to implement a particular change, that's fairly minimum. So for the rate change, they just gave about 4 days to implement, and that is where we come into the picture, that we have already created a up-to-date master sheet with us, which sort of has the rates as on date. And when the government sort of changes a portion of it, what we have to do is just update that masters. And we have APIs of those masters given to the organizations. And if they pull that particular API on the 18th, so the notification came on 14th and the change was made effective from 18th. So as soon as you pull out that API on 18th, you'll get the updated rate. And how we are doing is, it is that it's always a mix of technology and manual intervention. So we have like an army of chartered accountants and people who are working on direct tax and indirect tax front with us. So whenever any change comes into the picture, we interpret it, we sort of discuss it, we see where exactly that change should be made. There can be a change in our HSN master. There will be some change which will happen to our software, because what it has also done is it's not only changed the rate, it has also made compliance a little different for e-commerce operators such as Swiggy, which is their platform sort of a company, wherein all the companies which are aggregators, such as the cab aggregators or the hotel aggregators, there has been a reporting structure change which the government has brought about. And we have to be ready with it, because we have to be agile, we have to adapt to the changes in a much quicker manner, so that the client does not have to adapt to the change. And if we are not providing that sort of a solution, then the whole objective of automating and bringing technology or technology partners fails. So that is why we have to be ready with, and there comes the difference, that we have a good strength of technology people around, engineers who are working on the product day in, day out, and they know what piece of it needs to be changed. And we have like a host of chartered accountants and tax specialists who are working overall to see and ensure that the change is made correctly. And maybe just to add on to the context here is that the kind of softwares again that we are building, it is seamlessly integrated to each other as well, right?
That's right.
So whenever a change happens, it not only impacts one sort of a software, it has to impact the other as well. And we spoke about creating an ecosystem. That is what we are trying to do. Yeah. That the ecosystem should be so adaptable that one change that we are triggering in one sort of a software automatically gets passed on to the other softwares as well. And that is where the Max ITC solution that we have, it just helps all the companies to maximize their ITC. And how do we do that? Is that by ensuring that the rates are updated, ensuring that my vendors are compliant, ensuring that whatever purchases or sales I am doing, I ensure that everything is accounted in a right manner and the credit is taken. And we also have sort of developed a module for working capital impact in any sort of a startup where you know that the burnout is more than the revenue. You always need to be very mindful, where can I save money? And those are certain modules that we are building from an overall ecosystem perspective, which not only impacts one part, but it also impacts the other sort of a solution for the organization.
Great. Yeah, thanks for that. As a layman, as an outsider, this finds, I mean, it's a nightmare. So,
but I'll tell you that is where the catch, because the end customer is someone who will be impacted the most. Because
exactly.
Right now, if you are buying a paneer at 100, it will tomorrow become 105. So the change ultimately gets impacted, or the taxes passed on to the customer, but the impact is on the organization and the technology partners who have to adjust to it.
Correct.
And the government is just an enabler who wants to make the change just to earn revenue.
Absolutely. So Vikrant, for a provider like you, right? I mean, these kind of changes, right, might be really creating some sort of blockages, right, in the way you operate. So how do technologies like Clear and you work together to solve some of these things?
So, like I was explaining earlier, right? So, specific to this change, while this was not the only change, and there will be changes keep happening, right? So, we partnering with the right set of folks, say Clear, or because e-invoicing back at some point in time was not a compulsion, but then it became a compulsion. Then we used Vinculum and a technology partner to give us a solution. So there are solutions that different organizations already have. So you need not reinvent the wheel every time a change happens. As long as you are partnering with the folks who have the solutions, I think any such disruptions or any changes that keep coming to you as part of the regulatory framework, you are well equipped to handle them.
And Pritham, just to add on, I also feel that trust is a very important sort of a matrix when it comes to partnership. And that is what we have seen. So we started off with 1 or 2 assignments with Swiggy and Swiggy Instamart. And then we sort of earned or sort of got that trust. And then slowly and steadily, we are already doing about close to 5 projects with Swiggy and Swiggy Instamart. And there are talks that we will sort of have a couple of more in the pipeline, which includes the assignments with Swiggy, which is their sort of the main or the mother entity. And what we have also realized is that the software which Swiggy uses and the software which Instamart uses are different. And that's where our USP comes in, wherein we have the capability to integrate with Vinculum, which Swiggy Instamart uses, and maybe an iPay, which the Swiggy sort of the mother company uses. So that is where I think comes the differentiator. So it takes time to earn the trust. And once that happens, probably things keep coming in, and probably both the organizations get benefit out of it.
I get that. No, thanks. I think, I know we from a panel perspective, I think we pretty much had that. Open for any questions if anybody has for our panelists. Sure. If no questions, then thank you. Thank you all the panelists for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's give a big hand to our moderator and our panel members, please. Thank you, Mr. Pritham, for moderating the entire session. Thank you to all our speakers who joined us here today. That includes Mr. Vikrant Reddy, Mr. Weber Gumbalka, Mr. Amit Mohan. Thank you. Thank you so much.